All right, I'll start recording. I just realized as I'm starting to talk, I may or may not have gone to a birthday party last night and done a lot of karaoke. So my voice, oh, the voice, it's not quite where it's used to be. Oh dear. We will have fun today. That is fine. How is everyone? Good. So we have some familiar faces here. I was hoping we were going to get some newbies on live because I really wanted to be able to utilize some people's charts in this reading. So if you have your charts, hey, Tammy, Steph, if you have charts, there'll be 3 opportunities for me to do a live interpretation of what I'm talking about. That's basically the idea, right? And don't fret if you're new to human design. The reason why I've created this call is really just to show you what is possible for you. Because I think everyone in this group, and there's so many now, which is great. Keep inviting your friends when you're talking about it, people who are interested, who do doTERRA, bring them into this group so they can feel supported in ways that they can use it really effectively for themselves and others. And then I want to show you the ways that I'm using it. I also want to, like, the future vision I have for this community as well is because it's international and there's lots of people that are doing really, really beautiful work with human design for themselves and actually more leveraging their own design in their business. And what I want to do is bring voice to that. Okay, so I want to bring more voices into this group in just like short, like maybe like 15-minute kind of interviews on who they are, their type, and how they're utilizing their design in their life. Because I think that's the most important thing, is that this is an experiment, and the best way for us to learn is to see other people using their human design in a really effective way. And that makes us understand ourselves and others better as well, right? It's not always, we can't really live in a bubble. And that's where just getting a reading from a human design expert can be really, really great. But like, what about all the other people in your life? You know, I think we need to really understand everything as kind of a picture. And that's why I love teaching design, human design, the way that I do. I guess I'll introduce myself in a minute for those who don't know me or that haven't been following me for a while, or maybe they're just new to this group. So I'll give you a little background on who I am, but I've got a little presentation. It's very, very short. Hang on, let me just pull it up. What is it? Is it there? Yeah, it's good. People who have, I'm a 1-3 profile. So for those who don't know what 1-3 profile means, is that there's going to be like a typo or something. Like we learn through trial and error. So it's good to be imperfect. It's something that I actually truly had to overcome when I was building my doTERRA business, was that risk of being seen imperfectly or doing something wrong, right? And now realizing that that's such a significant part of my 3-line in my profile, then it's like, okay, I actually need to embrace this more, and I have to show that this is okay, because that's how I learn and that's how I teach other people not to make the same mistakes that I make. So it's actually very, very effective in my business. So if I just share my screen, I love how Steph has grabbed an oil. If you need to do the same, please do, because oils are the best, right? So I'm going to look sideways. I'm really sorry for those watching the replay because I've got 2 screens. But today I really want to talk about 3 ways that we can use human design in our doTERRA business. And it's going to be very, very straightforward. So don't worry too much if this is repeating things or if you're completely new. It's all going to be relevant. For me, I learned human design personally for my own personal development journey. And it's almost similar to, there's so many similarities with my doTERRA journey, to be completely honest. And so for a little bit who don't actually know my doTERRA journey, my name is Hayley Wiese. I'm a blue diamond. I'm based in Australia. I live on the sunny coast, even though we haven't probably seen sun in about 4 weeks because it's rained consistently. But I live up here now with my beautiful family. And this, I think I just want to remind you, is the power of this business model, because we didn't used to live here. We used to live in a small country town in a whole different state. But doTERRA gave our family the financial freedom for me to retire my husband, for us to move to where we wanted our children to grow up and thrive. That's them in the photo there, Bernard and Emma. They are now 8 and 10. And so they've just grown up as doTERRA babies. And I think when doTERRA comes into our life, let me know if you agree with me, but it kind of takes us on a personal development journey. Like, would you agree? Yeah, right. You start to like, it's like a gateway drug to something else, to something more emotionally aware, or to more physically aware, or more spiritually aware. And it's kind of like, it just kind of weaves its way into our life. And I feel human design kind of does the same thing. And so I got introduced to doTERRA in 2015. At the end of 2015, I kind of started building my doTERRA business. Within 12 months, I was a diamond. And that really just catapulted me into understanding the power of network marketing and these oils and changing lives. Now, I think when we go on that journey, and because I grew so fast, I learned a lot of lessons. And I was always looking for ways to support my personal development. I got introduced to human design in 2018. So it's been an experiment for me for about 4 years now. And about 2 years ago, I really got the pull to go, Hayley, this is not just for you now, it's for someone else as well. And often we happen that with our oils, we start with the oils for ourselves. And it's like, no, it's time to actually pass this wisdom on to someone else. And that's kind of, we feel called to do that, right? And so I went through lots of different styles of teaching human design, helping people with the human design. A lot of it started with my customers, with myself, with my family, with my friends. And then I realized, hang on a second, this is almost like making a roller bottle for someone. And now just bear with me here. If you get given a report for human design and you go, this is all you need to know, right? And it's like giving someone a roller bottle, going, here, this is the exact amount of drops of the exact oils that I think you need to know and that you're going to use, and it's going to do something, right? And to me, that's not, I guess, empowering as much as it would be to give them the essential oils, teach them how to use them, teach them about the body, teach them about how they're all connected, and then how to support and empower themselves in their own life. Would you agree with that, that is like a really good way to kind of build out a doTERRA business? I am just getting the chat up now so I can see you guys and interact with you guys. And so for me, I was like, well, hang on a second. Why can't I do the same thing with human design? Why do we have to either be all in or all out in our awareness of human design? As in, I'm only going to learn what someone tells me about it, or I could actually understand what I'm looking at. What was your thoughts when you first looked at your human design chart? For me, it was like, that's really cool. Have no idea what that means. Let me know. Let me know in the chat what you thought. Also, let me know in the chat where you're at with your human design awareness. Now, I know there's a number of you on here that have already done a number of my courses, so I'm hoping that the number's getting up there now, because I think before you probably started, you might have been like a 1 or a 2 or 3, and now I'm hoping that you're more up like a 7, 8. And there's a saying, first awareness, WTF, where to now? Yeah. And so if anyone has a 1 line in their profile or a defined ajna, I would say are probably the 2 dominant themes. I have both. You love to learn, right? So you would have been the people that found an essential oil or heard something through convention or online. You're like, okay, I need to know all the reasons behind that. Like, give me all the books, give me all the things. And this is such a common trait that we can leverage in our business. And I'll show you how in a minute. But I think for me, when I learned human design, because I was already so far down the personal development track, and you may be as well, a lot of it was confirmation. I was like, I already figured that out. Oh, yeah, I learned that the hard way, right? It's like, okay, now I know why I do that. And so it wasn't necessarily telling me anything that I didn't already know about myself. And I hope that you and your human design it's not going to tell you things that you don't already know about yourself. It's going to tell you things. It's going to remind you of who you are. It's going to remind you how to trust yourself. And it's going to ask you to honor that, right? And that's the biggest gift that this has for you in your personal development, your personal growth. Okay. Tammy's saying she's a 6 or a 7. I've been learning, but hard to recall the info and help others understand. And that's a really tricky thing, isn't it? It's the interpretation and making it practical. But would you not say that there's some similarities with that with doTERRA? Like, wouldn't you say that that doTERRA can be a very complex conversation? Yeah, she's saying yeah. Right. And so what works in your doTERRA business? Think about that. Think about, what is it that comes really naturally to you? How is it that when you teach, is it one-on-ones, is it classes? Are you a really good storyteller when it comes to sharing your experiences with the oils? Like, all of these things matter. And it means that you can actually utilize that in other areas of your life. Now, hang on, congratulations here. I did my first paid reading yesterday. It was so awesome. So Mel is one of my graduates from my reader certification course. Congratulations, Mel. I'm so excited for you. Sarah's saying a 5 to a 6, same as Tammy, need to better understand and how to implement into life. Perfect. Good. The good thing for you guys is that that's my zone of genius, is I make that complicated thing seem simple, right? It's making all the big words and all the things. It's like, okay, but how does this actually show up in your life? So it's actually going to make a difference and you're going to pay attention and want to actually do that. So Inez is saying, I spoke about it at a gathering on Friday night. Several people are interested to learn more. Oh, this is so exciting. I love that. I love that you're open to this. So I am a 1-3 sacral generator. I'll show you my chart in a minute. If you don't already have your chart, go to bit.ly/I am body graph. Okay, there you go. I put a link in. Okay, so today we're going to cover 3 areas. Person, so like as in 3 areas that you're going to like for the personal, for you as a wellness advocate, and for you in leadership. They're going to be the 3 elements that I recommend that when you understand when human design is coming into your life, it's going to support you on a personal level. It's going to support you as a wellness advocate, supporting your customers, as well as a leadership level with anyone that wants to join you on this journey as a sharer, builder, or leader. Okay. Hugely, hugely significant. It's changed my business completely. So when we're looking at a chart, if someone came to you, or if someone put their chart in front of you right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you to tell them anything about their chart? Like anything, right? Because I'm pretty sure you'd probably know more than you think. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, you are. Sarah's a 3, all right, but we've got 10s and 9s and 9s and 10s. Beautiful. So that's good. So a lot of you are at a start, like maybe you'll see the type that they are. Type is important. Strategy is important. Authority is important. What else is important? I would say split definition and profile is important. And then environment. I'd probably kind of stick with those ones for now. So type, strategy, authority, not self-theme, signature, yes. Definition, definitely. Profile and markets. Do you want me to cover a little bit as to why? Would you want me to do that now for you? I could tell them their type and what that different centers being colored means. Oh, cool, Sarah. That's awesome. That's a really good start. That really is. Okay, so when we're looking, we'll break this down in a minute. Like I'm going to show you personally for the other and for like business and leadership in a minute. But when we're looking at the chart anatomy, so the type is really important because that's how you're going to show up in congruence, right? It's going to tell you how you're meant to act or how you're going to be in alignment, right? And so me learning that I'm a generator, it's like, cool, yeah, that's why I'm the Energizer Bunny. It's why some people would look at me and go, you know, how can you just continue to work so many hours? Because I would work late at night because I had small children. Like that's how I built my business between like 8 and 2 a.m. 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when I built my doTERRA business. But I was a generator on fire with a sacral that was so lit up, right? I was in full alignment and I just didn't realize that was in, what my human design was. Now my husband is a projector, very different conversation. And this is why those other 2 areas that I'm going to talk about is really, really important, because it's not just about knowing ourselves. Because if I then show, well, this is how it worked for me, and I'm speaking to a projector and I'm like, well, that's going to work for you. No, it's probably not. Okay. So it's really important to know that. Now, the strategy and authority is really key too, because that's how you know that you're in alignment and making decisions for yourself, and how you can show other people how to be in alignment and make like solid decisions for themselves, even to the point where it comes to making a decision on what kit they want to buy, or, like what oils they want to bring into their home. You can actually teach them through their strategy and authority on how to trust themselves with that, right? Also, if they're an emotional authority, who's an emotional authority here? Yeah. So they're going to be the people in a class or a one-on-one that's going to have to go home and think about it, right? Because they're not here to make a quick decision and to put them under pressure, let alone if they have an open root center, they'll hate that feeling, right? So you may not know their human design at this point in time, but you can be aware that there are people with those types of human designs. And so we can be a little bit more considerate to their actual learning process or their decision-making process, because sometimes we don't really get shown that in how to close and that kind of like sales kind of things, right? Tammy's saying yes, open route to here. Yeah. So if I knew Tammy's human design, or I felt she was really getting uncomfortable with that kind of, the pressure of like, they're wanting me to like make a decision now, I'm feeling really uncomfortable, just to even give them the permission of like, what do you think is the next best step for you? I think I love that question. At the end of a class, is like when I'm going around and speaking to people individually, is like, if I was, like, what are you working on? What do you like, how important are kind of these situations right now that you want to fix? Like, is this urgent or is this not urgent? And I would go like, look, if I was you, I would look at this kind of kit or these kind of oils, but have a look and I'll come back and we can chat. And if they still haven't got a decision, I would honestly just say, look, is there any questions that you have that I haven't answered yet? And then what do you think are the next best steps? Okay, because they might say, look, I just need time or anything like that. But giving them that space, like you've literally given them the opportunity to make a decision straight away, and then you've given them the freedom to come back. And of course, you wouldn't just leave it at that. You would book in a time to like, is it okay if I call you in a week or call you tomorrow? Like, right? You'd have a next step, but you would give them the freedom to choose what that was. And I think that's really honoring emotional authorities and people who are quite sensitive and open to other people's energy. Anyway, I digress. So the self and not self theme are going to be important, particularly for yourself when you feel like, life is good and things are good, or when maybe you're hitting up against some brick walls and things aren't quite working for you. Definition is important, depending on if you're going to be more independent in your doTERRA journey and life in general, or if you need to actually be surrounded by people. Like as a split definition, I need to connect with my team face to face. Like that's really important for me. I would say single definitions would probably be more than happy to fully online, because they don't always necessarily need that connection with the other for their chart to express itself fully in a really effective way. And so that's something that can be really important to understand. Profiles are really cool because that just kind of understands your personality type and how you're interacting with the world, so you can honor it. It's also really important when we come to leadership too. Incarnation cross, I don't tend to go down to too deeply. Let's have a look. Market environment can be good from a business perspective, but really ultimately, if you just know the type, strategy, and authority and the centers and what the centers do, like you're going to be like really doing really, really well. Okay. So when we're looking at the personal, okay, so the first one is understanding yourself. We know that doTERRA is a personal development journey wrapped up in essential oils. And there is so much wisdom out there on like the person that I've grown into in these last 6.5 years in doTERRA is unfathomable. Like I never thought that this could even be like my journey, because I was so conditioned to go to school, get a good grade, go to university, get a good grade, get a good job, work hard. You know what I mean? Like that was my life. Where now it's like I had to really deconstruct the connection between working hard and success, right? I built my business through working hard, which I was capable of doing as a generator, but I was doing it from this point of an open will center that was looking for this need of enoughness, right? I was avoiding having conversations and overcompensating and doing work for my team because I didn't want to have conversations because I have a fully open solar plexus, right? And so me understanding is like, wow, okay, does the truth have to hurt? No, it doesn't, right? Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And so I'm knowing that I have to feel that discomfort because I'm designed to be sensitive in that way. Actually, did I show you my body graph? Yeah. So here, so I'm talking about here, where we're white, we're designed to be sensitive. Okay. That's where we're going to have the lessons in life. Where we're colored in these charts is where we're sending that energy out. It's kind of like a consistent access to those strengths. When I teach human design and when I teach my girls about human design, it's like, it's not a you've got it or you don't, because you have the whole chart. Everybody has the whole chart. It's just how you interact with that energy that is important. Okay. And so it's not like, oh, well, you don't have a defined will center, Hayley, so you can't follow things through. Well, guess what? I've also got a sun in gate 42, which is the gate of finishing things. So yeah, I probably do. It's just going to be a little bit tricky. Okay. So there's nothing that's ever black and white in human design, but it's more about awareness and journey and understanding and self-compassion. Okay. And so these were some of the two biggest lessons that I learned the hard way in doTERRA. It took me years. But now realizing that I can actually use that to support others to understand it much quicker, much earlier, and get them fast tracking on their journey too, to trusting themselves more, then that's such a huge, huge benefit. I have a lot of lessons, Mel is saying. Why don't you comment some of the biggest ones that have shifted so far for you right now, for those who are live? That would be really cool. The other thing that I'll do that on the next one. So, okay, so trusting yourself. So trusting yourself comes back to your strategy and authority. When you understand your strategy and authority, you can make congruent decisions. And so that comes into then following through into acting in alignment, right? If you don't trust yourself to know the difference between discomfort and alignment, there's a problem. Because doTERRA is not a hard business. It's just a really, really uncomfortable business. Like, there is truth to the point where we need to push ourselves outside our comfort zone, like consistently, to grow. Because if we stay who we are, nothing else is going to change, right? And so there's things that we have to release in life. Now, if you've got an undefined splenic center, who's got an undefined splenic center here? Mel's like, yes. All right. Well, you don't want to let stuff go. It's really hard to let stuff go because there's that fear attached to, well, who am I if I'm not this person? Or who am I if I'm no longer in this relationship? Or who am I if this girlfriend is no longer my friend, even though she's not supporting me in my goals, right? So there's this huge amount of fear associated to releasing things. And that could be mindsets, it could be possessions, it could be relationships, it could be lots of different things. And as I saying, oh my God, the who am I question story of my life. Okay. And the crazy thing is that it's so funny. It's like, I will say it. I don't feel like I'm that good a coach. I'm just really good at interpreting a chart now, right? That's what I've been able to do. And I'm going to explain that in the third section around leadership. Okay. But right now, when we're talking about you, we're talking about trusting yourself. So when you know your strategy, pop in your strategy. Actually, I need a chart. Let's give a hot seat. Who's going to be the first person to pop their hand up on the chart? Hey. Oh, I think I got Christine. Christine, can you pop your body graph up, sweetie? I may have to give you permission. I'll make you a co-host. That should do it. Is this helping? I can't see everyone's faces. Are you enjoying this? Hi, Melissa. All the way from Canada, eh? Sorry, I can't help myself. I love Canadians. Is it working? Okay, so we've got Christine. So Christine is a generator. I can tell that now. So normally, look, you don't have to be able to read. Huh?
Projector.
But why do you have a defined sacral in this graphic?
Okay, hang on.
Not your graphic then. So when you have someone's chart, it's going to have all the descriptions next to it. Okay. So don't be worried about looking at something and knowing you have to know what you're looking at. I can teach you how to do that. I do teach people how to do that, both in my I Am course, which is just my basic foundational course on basically like an introduction to essential oils. It's an introduction to human design in life, health, parenting. I do also cover some business in that one as well. Is this your chart? This is not your chart.
I'm looking for mine. It's like, what the heck? Because I thought I had it. Yeah, it's not.
Well, let's do this person. Whoever this is the person we're going to talk about. All right. It's not Christine. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about who this is. Sarah's saying the I Am course is great. Oh, you've taken it. I'm so glad.
Hang on.
All right. Look at your screen. So Christine's a 1-3 profile, same as me, right? And so it's like, give me all the things. I want to be able to see all the things. I'm going to have things like half finished, but I want to have access to it all whenever I need it at the touch of button. Yeah. And the reason why,
okay, can you see it?
I can see that. We can see that. So this is Christine's chart. So Christine's chart looks very different to mine. There's a lot more white, right? So that would that to me is sensitivity. Okay. So I'm looking at her here, but what we're looking at is how she would trust herself. So she's an emotional authority. So she's going to have these emotional waves. Okay. And so the main thing is giving her space and permission to do that. So as a person, like for me, if this was my design, I know that I don't really want to be put on the spot to make a quick decision, which can be really tricky because sometimes people will pressure us. Now, I do know that you do have a defined root center, so that's okay, so like that's kind of grounded in you. But you're not here to build and create and do, right? You're here to guide, and you're here to like be in that stillness and to figure out what it is and then get that kind of insight and then know what to take action on. So anyone who's an emotional authority, for you to be able to trust yourself, it's not in a high moment or a low moment. That's not where we're making decisions. And I describe this like a roller coaster. So either if you're going down the roller coaster and it's like, oh my God, right? Or you're going up that roller coaster in anticipation, it's all really exciting. It's kind of like when you get to the end of the ride and you're like, okay. It's when that's clear, when there's clarity, when there's calmness, is when when you can ask yourself if this is the right thing for you. It's very, very different to a sacral being, so a generator or a manifesting generator. When this center is colored, it's very, very different decision-making process, okay? This is around authority. The other thing that Christine really needs to understand in doTERRA, and I think I've had a lot of people ask me about this, so I could just maybe do a specific masterclass just for projectors in doTERRA, because I think it's really, really different. Is that you need to follow invitations and recognition, right? So you're not here to start the thing and to honor the thing. So often projectors are confused and they start to initiate and they start to like respond to things, right? They start to be their not self. They start to act like everyone else. They're not trusting themselves that things will come to them. If they actually just show up in what they're passionate about and things that they love to do, right? Then the people will come to them. Then they'll be recognized and see that. And that's when they know they're on that right path. Okay. And it's very, very different to generators, manifesting generators, and manifestors. Now, the only other thing I will say with Christine, because you have that defined splenic center as well, is you will have intuitive downloads too. Right. And that'll be really powerful for you, more so than like crazy inspirational kind of, I want to go chase this. It's more that like fear-based instinctual, there's something here and it feels really scary, but let's just sleep on it and see if I still want to approach it tomorrow. Yeah. And so does that help? Like, so that's very, very different. Thank you, Christine. That's very, very different to say myself, who is a sacral authority, who needs to trust the pull of the yes or the no. Right? Does anyone have any specific questions around their specific authority that they don't yet understand? And you can just unmute and ask. Hello.
Hello.
This is Bernard. He is my 3/5 emotional projector. Aren't you? Yes. All right, let's keep going then. Yes.
Dad said to need you to give me help to get an umbrella.
Well, I think Dad doesn't realize I'm on a call right now, so he might have to do that for you. Okay, so the next one is as a wellness advocate. This is like the most exciting for me. It's like, so for me, this was such a big aha moment because we love to help people in doTERRA, don't we? Right? And any kind of wisdom that we can help people understand themselves better, awesome. But are we doctors? No. Like a lot of us aren't health professionals or psychologists or all the things. But does that mean that we don't have, like, I'm speaking as a 3-line here who knows that personal experience is valid. Okay. We know how powerful personal stories are in this doTERRA journey, and we can utilize that. But when you have experience in understanding and reading a human design chart, you can apply that to someone and their life. And that's why with my I Am course, which I think Sarah talked about, like it does cover health, because every single one of these centers is connected to different organs in the body. So I know if I have my new customer and they have an undefined, let's bring up someone else's chart here. Let's bring up someone else's chart. Okay, Sarah, yep, up you come. Scylla, do you want to do the next one, darling? I don't know. Am I pronouncing your name right? I'm mostly not, but I'm highly likely not. But
yes, that's right, Scylla.
Scylla? Okay, cool. Yes. Perfect. So Sarah, if
you screen sharing.
Sorry?
You want me to screen share?
Oh, I'm just going to do Sarah and then I'll do you for the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So with Sarah, what I'm going to do is like, okay, if Sarah was a new customer of mine, okay, as a wellness advocate, there would be a few things that I would want to look at. So the first thing I would talk to her about is like sleep. Sarah, can you unmute, please? Why would I want to talk to Sarah about sleep is because one, she's a projector, so she needs a lot more sleep. She doesn't have that sacral, right, down here, so she needs a lot more rest. And she has an undefined head and ajna, which means she's probably thinking a lot, too much, to be honest. And so tell me, is like how are your sleeping habits?
Terrible.
Terrible. Right. And like, how cool is it for me? Like, I get a full kick out of it every time because they're kind of, their face is like, how do you know that? Right. And so you probably got, that would probably be the main area that I would be focusing on, like as in from a human design perspective with your openness. I could also ask about your thyroid or any issues like that because you have an undefined throat center, but that could also just be a confidence, like from an emotional perspective, because in the head and the ajna, there's a lot of anxiety, right? And then there can be a lot of insecurities with an open throat because they can feel really invisible. Because they don't have that consistent way of communicating, or they'll either be like a chatterbox, or they'll be like a wallflower, right? So which one are you leaning to, Sarah?
The first two. If I'm comfortable in a situation, you can't shut me up.
Yeah.
And pretty much all the other time, like I have anxiety, and that confidence thing as well is definitely there.
Yeah. And so when I want to be doing a wellness consult or something like that with someone, or just someone in my team needed help, I would be really recommending essential oils to help them get out of their head, to help them ground, because you've got a lot of energy down in that root center. So that's really consistent for you, but you've got to get out of that head. And so like the emotional aromatherapy oils will be really helpful for you. And also any oils to support the throat, like lavender or spearmint, probably more lavender to calm the active chattering, right? More so than feeling like you need that confidence to speak. But at the same time, you've got a defined will center. So I'm like, there's some skill sets here that need to like be shown to the world. And so if you're not doing that, like there's going to be a block there. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a block there.
And so that would be really going into like from a business perspective, I would be talking more about that. But can you see how just with that, actually, Scylla, do you have your chart there? Does anyone have like an undefined root or has some different things that are undefined? So I could kind of give another example. One more time. Inez? Yeah. Oh, Scylla, we'll do that next time. It's okay. Got to be quick around here. Okay. Can we scroll up a little bit? Can't quite see your bottom.
Sorry, that's what I'm trying to do. I've only got one monitor today instead of my usual 3. So
very good.
Juggling all the things. Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah, perfect. So Inez is like opposite. So I would still ask about sleep, especially with a defined head and ajna, because technically speaking, their thoughts are their own. And so they should sleep really well, or maybe like, let me know, like Inez, like what is your sleep like?
The only way I sleep properly is if I knock myself out with balance and lavender peace.
Okay.
An element of it will be because I'm not using up my sacral energy properly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would get into, I don't know if it's coming from my undefined spleen in terms of the fear things. Oh, I should have done this. I could have done this better. I haven't done that properly, or that sort of anxiety whirring in my head. And potentially there's the conditioning in there that I know is very much present from the way that I was brought up.
Yeah.
Coming into play as well.
Yeah, there's a few elements. So like your undefined root center would mean when you do get that adrenal. So this bottom center down here is connected to our adrenals. So whenever I see it white, I talk about burnout. So like how's your relationship with burnout?
Yeah, very intimate.
Right? Yeah. And and then like, I don't have that. I never realized how people could get to burnout, right? I just didn't understand how people could push themselves to the point of like, what is this burnout? Like, I'm working really hard and I'm not burning out, but I have a defined root center. I can modulate my adrenals much more effectively than Inez. So we will both act really well under pressure. We will both thrive on adrenaline. I won't burn out, and she may. Okay. Nothing again is ever black and white. Of course, if you do have a defined root center, you can absolutely burn out, but you are doing the wrong thing for way too long. Like you're doing it way worse. Okay. And so there would be that. There would also be insecurities with the undefined will center from a self-esteem perspective. And like you said, not like with the fear. And then as a generator, because you have that defined sacral, what we know with generators is if they aren't living in alignment and they're not using their energy each day to be productive more so than just busy, right? Then they're not going to sleep very well. Okay. And so people with a defined head and ajna should be able to go to bed calmly and quietly. Or maybe you think it's bad, but it's not as bad as people who are undefined, which is just terrible. But if they do have insomnia, then there's some big things in there that are really deeply subconscious, which is their stuff. It's really hard to kind of get out, but they would need to seek help for that, for sure. Yeah. So there you go. So that's just a little bit of difference. Okay. But can you see, like, for me, the gift of that, if I just,
I'll stop sharing now.
yeah, that would be good. Thank you, darling. If I just go back to my thing. So you can see how accurate I feel like I can be when I'm making recommendations. If I see an open root, particularly like the bottom three, like the spleen, the root, and the emotional set, like open, like they need lifelong vitality. I think everyone needs lifelong vitality, but particularly if that is the case, if any of those are open, I can highly recommend things like Mitre 2 Max for an open root center, because they need to be able to rebuild their adrenals, right? Basil essential oil, aroma touch essential oil, all of those kind of things. I can make really confident decisions, even though we can predict if someone like those, but I know if that is the case, right? And I think when we're building trust, creating and building trust, this does it so quickly, because it's like, how do you know this about me? How do you know, like, I need to ground? They may need to either get out of their head and ground into their body. If they've got an undefined solar plexus, they may need emotional protective oils, emotional supportive oils, right? To understand what is their emotions and what's not. If they have a defined solar plexus, they probably need the emotional aromatherapy kit, because like they need the reactive support, because they're always going up and down. And those 6 roller bottles are just like perfect reactive support. And I think when you understand the oils and then you can apply it to their chart from a health perspective, from a lifestyle perspective, and this is totally doable. Can I just say that? Like, has anyone done my I Am course, just my basic 3-module, 3-week course, and feel like, wow, I could look at someone's chart and it's like, oh, that's right, I remember you actually showed me that. Like, that information is there for you. Oh, who's that? Karina. So Sarah, did that help you understand like the health, the connection to the health?
Oh, 100%. And like all through the course, I'm going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, that makes so much sense. This is me. Yes, this is right. You know, it just, like you say, it was a permission slip and a light bulb moment every single time.
Yeah. And it's for me, it was just, I felt like that was just the easiest way to bring people into the world of human design for not only themselves, but their family. So they can have, because guess what? When we have people in doTERRA and they're not only using oils for themselves, they're using it for their family. Like, isn't that what we want? Like, that's the lifestyle that we desire for them, because that's going to make long lasting changes. The worst thing is when a woman gets the oils in, say, I'm just going to stereotype here, but her husband doesn't want to think of it, that, you know, like no one else wants anything to do with it. How hard is it going to be for her to then integrate that fully into her life in a long-term situation? It's going to be really tough, even though she might really, really want it. And so for me, if I can teach women how to look at their chart, their kids' chart, their husband's chart, like the number of people I've seen, like they're like, wow, I think you just saved my marriage. because now they understand how their partners and things work. And this is where probably I'll talk about in the next slide, is when it comes to leadership, it's about understanding the other, right? And respecting the other person's journey and respecting how they're showing up. And so, yes, this can be from a personal perspective, like in the relationships that I have, with my husband or my friends, but we're talking about doTERRA business here. And this is really significant when I'm looking at coaching people in my team. Very, very different. Like, this is a game changer, because I don't know how many people naturally have the skill to see something within someone, be able to guide them through a journey and a path to an end result. Like, that takes immense practice, a lot of years and experience in coaching to be able to do that for someone. For some reason, I feel like this is like it's like a advance to go collect $200 kind of situation. Like, you can kind of jump the steps. So for me, as a 1-3 profile, and this will be relevant for anyone with a, probably really relevant, extra relevant for anyone with a 3 in their profile or a 6 in their profile. This would be more relevant for you as well. Is that because we learn through trial and error, and that's what makes us good teachers, because we have been there, we have done that, we have learned the lessons, okay? And that's what makes us really powerful storytellers, because it's like, this works, I know this works, I've had this experience, that trust can get really well built. Now, when you're trying to teach someone about the doTERRA business, you've only experienced the doTERRA business as yourself, okay? And so what works for you may not work for the other. And so it is really hard. It's like, oh, well, you could follow this leader. I think you'll like this person. So we can send people away, but that's still not really helping us to one, grow as a coach, as a leader in doTERRA, to help people to rise. We're just deferring it. It's almost like being a parent and sending them to the grandparents because you don't know how to deal with them, right? Or we could take ownership of like, well, what's a way that I can actually understand that? So what I realized is, if I can learn this through trial and error, and I can learn all of these different lines and these different shapes and all the things, and then this is just a filter that I then talk through. That's it. So this is now my 3-line experiment of trial and error. What works, what doesn't. I know people with this, defined or undefined, and this is how it works. I know people with this, defined or undefined, this is how it works. It doesn't have to be me, but I can speak through it. Does that make sense? And so this has really, really, really helped me with coaching. So understanding the other is highly, highly significant. Otherwise, who has ever heard advice and it just didn't resonate? Or you tried it, it just didn't work? Or like, we hear it all the time, and they're not doing anything wrong, because they're just doing what works for them. And I get it. But that's also why I was resistant to like do a business coaching or a life coaching course, right? Because I felt like that would put me too much into, this is the only way that, like, these are the 5 steps that you teach someone or you work through someone on something. And I think there's elements of like NLP and mindset stuff that are really, really powerful. For me, like, human design is just like, it's just so simple and it's quick. So the other reason for this, just like I can breathe belief when I'm looking at someone's chart into, I can understand, I can't truly understand what it must feel like to go through that burnout with an undefined root center, because I have a defined root center. I will never truly understand Inez and how she experiences pressure, because I don't have that within my chart, right? And so there's an honoring there. There's a level of respect there. The same thing, but then I can breathe belief into her of how to support that and how to honor that within her and what strengths are available there. Same thing in business. Right? I will never truly know what it feels like to have a defined will center. I think it'll be bloody freaking awesome, to be honest. But I can also breathe belief back into women who've had that center shut down for most of their life. Not to play too big, like, oh, you know how good you were at playing the flute in like primary school? Yeah, your best friend got really jealous and you stopped. Right? So there's so many people who have that defined will center who have shut these natural strengths down, just as an example, right? Who should have that consistent access to self-belief and self-assurance. And I can breathe that belief back into them. I've never experienced that, and I don't know if I ever will, because that's not what I've come here to learn. But I know that she is here to experience that, and she has access to that, right? And so that's a really powerful thing, that when we can see that in someone else, and look, some people can do this naturally, kudos. And I'm sure in 5 more years or 2 more years of coaching through human design, I will be able to see it instinctively anyway in people without their charts. But this is such a beautiful way to just kind of ease my way into that and be really, really specific. And you're speaking to them with their words that they understand. You're speaking to them in terms and understanding of like, that is so me, right? And when they realize that, then that trust gets belief. And then you can coach them in alignment. So this is really, really significant. So let's have a look at someone's chart now. So Scylla will get you up. Where are you? Okay. As a projector, I find that all the time because I lost the chat. Who was saying someone said that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's mine. Thank you.
Hey, okay. So Scylla is a 3-5. You are a generator. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Split definition. So the first thing I would say to Scylla, so where are you in your doTERRA journey?
I got up to gold and
Beautiful.
now I'm down around the it's bouncing around everywhere. So
I think can we all resonate? We can all resonate.
Yeah.
No one's on their rank. No one. Well, if you are, like, tell me what you're doing because it's just a season. It's a season. Okay, so you've got up to gold, which is great. Because even just did you hit it once or were you kind of a bit consistent there?
I stayed there consistently. I was living in Canberra and then I relocated back to Cairns and things changed. Yeah.
And so for me, I like, I'm a really big believer in the belief levels in doTERRA. And if you haven't looked into them, 100% you need to do that. At every single rank, there's a level of belief. And the fact that you've got to gold consistently means that there's a belief that you are capable of attracting people who have a vision in the business, right? As well as guiding them. It's very, very different to just attracting people as a silver who want to use and share the product. Right. So you've obviously attracted people at some stage in your business who did want to do the business. Okay. Which is great. Have you ever done Diamond Club?
No, but one person in my team did.
Okay. But see, like for me, Diamond Club would be a 50-50 on you.
Yeah.
One, you're a generator. Awesome. Like you would want to tap into that sacral response. Is Diamond Club the right thing for me to do? Yes or no? Okay. You do have a defined will center. So if you're committed to it, you would want to run at it, right? And you would want to do really well because you've got that kind of competitiveness to you, which is a good thing. Okay. Don't get me wrong, but you have an open route. And so the pressure of it may just get too much.
Yeah.
And the fears associated to that could be a good personal development journey. If you really wanted to get back into put some fire back into your business and it was scary to do it, right? But your sacral was saying yes.
Yep.
But you were scared that you were going to burn out, then that's around time management, like would have to get the skills in place around goals per se of like how many people do I need to get like Diamond Club, right? But it's not about accessing the pressure from others or the thing. Like you have to really make it you have to create an internal why for why you're doing doTERRA outside of the pressure of the competition.
Yes.
Okay. And I think you would do well because of your definition, right? The way that you've got a defined throat, like you know a lot of stuff. You must know a lot of stuff. You've got that defined ajna, it just holds information. You've been through a lot of experiences. Like people will love you or they'll hate you with that 5 line. So like you will have the people out there who will support you in this, but you would just have to there's some growth there for you, right? But it could be that fire that you needed to boost it. Now, if does that help you?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. I mean, I guess with so many life changes, you sort of go in different directions. And like you said, I do know a lot and I do body balancing with the oils. So I do chakra balancing. So I have got a few different branches to my business and how I share the oils. So yeah, that clarity to just stick in the one lane and see myself pushing right through with Diamond Club. Yeah, if I did feel that pressure because of obviously that open route. So yeah, it makes sense what you're saying.
And it's not just that, because you've got a defined will center, when you say yes, you will finish it. Like even if it kills you, because it's so important for a defined will center. So we're looking at this little red triangle here.
Yeah.
When that is switched on, like when they say yes, they mean it, right? And so it can be highly, highly painful for someone to commit to something, especially with an emotional authority. So if you've jumped into something too soon, you've said yes on a whim, right? You got all excited and you went to leadership and you got all inspired and you went, yes, I'm going to do like Diamond Club and it's going to be amazing. And then you get home and you go, fuck, right?
Yeah.
So because you made a decision when your emotional authority was like, woo, okay, you probably would have had to sit on it a week and gone through all the steps to figure out, like, is this something that I can do with my family? Is it something that we can work out? But I think if it was a yes, you would still do really well. Like if you committed to it and it was felt in alignment, you would do well.
Yeah.
So, but for other people, is anyone more open? So like undefined will, undefined root, anyone else? I would also tell you to get out of your head, Celia, a lot. Like Celia, like.
Thank you. Yes.
Fully,
that is
fully
a big
open
one.
head.
Yes.
Yes.
Big one.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a chart that is quite open, particularly the will center, the root center?
My root center is not open, but I'm very open. I've
All right.
got
Let's have a look at you
defined
now.
sacral.
Bring it up. Let's go. Okay. Look at you. So like Melissa's a generator, right? So if you just went by the type, you'd be like, you've got energy and you can go, go, go and yada, yada, yada. And you're here. And then like 7 is wide. So we can't just go by type. Type is a great thing. Like Mel needs to find things that light her up, and the energy that she has, she needs to use it for things that she's passionate about. Like that is a no-brainer. Okay. But we also have to understand that she's highly sensitive to a lot of the world out there in thoughts and like passion and purpose and all the things, right? And so, but there's in all of this whiteness is actually what we're here to coach through, teach through. And so this is something I as part of my I Am Academy. So I do a human, like, thank you, by the way, every single person who said, I want to learn how to teach this and make me like do a certification course. But I'm a generator and I responded to that. And how amazing was Mel actually went through the certification course as well. And so part of that, I don't just teach you about how to read human design like this. I also teach you how to brand yourself using your human design. So for instance, when Mel and I did some one-on-one mentoring with that, we were actually working through our open centers because that's what she's actually experiencing. That's what she's sensitive to. And that's the lessons that she's here to share with someone else. Often we think about like, oh, well, I'm here to create and I'm here to do the things and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, well, yeah, that's just instinctual to you. But what you actually experience is actually your lessons because you've learned both sides. You know what it feels like not to have that. You've figured out how to fix it and you're going to pass that wisdom on to someone else. Okay. And so Mel, in your journey, kind of moving through this and understanding your sensitivities and like, there's been so much, like you've been like this little flower that's just kind of done that. Could you just share in a couple of words kind of what's come up for you or some of the biggest shifts that you've kind of felt? Understanding this more from a leadership perspective?
That I'm not broken, that there's not something wrong with me. That would probably be the biggest thing, that it's okay to, I don't know, maybe like the things that I like or try things, experience things, and that if I don't get it right the first time, that's okay. I think that's probably for me being, I suppose, the biggest things in that, and probably understanding what I'm experiencing through my open centers doesn't necessarily mean that is me.
Yeah.
I think would be the biggest thing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So when energy comes into a center, a white center, it wants to naturally express itself through the activated gates. So you have quite a lot of activated gates. So when the energy comes in, it's actually going to want to like, ooh, go here or go there or go there. So you're actually going to feel and sense it in different ways, and you're wanting to show up and use that energy in different ways. But in the openness is the gifts. So whenever I see an open G center, which is this diamond in the middle, I feel like those people are really good coaches because they're not here for their own purpose and direction, but they're really good at sensing and guiding other people on their purpose and direction. Right. And so Mel, that's what you do, isn't it? You coach.
Yep.
And so I have a defined G center. And so for me, it wasn't a natural thing that I could just sense, like I felt like you need to do this, or I feel like you need to do this. Where Mel, it was much more an instinctual thing. She was already down that path, doing those natural things that she was technically really good at. But like what we can do is we basically like rewrite a story, we reverse engineer a story, because often we can kind of, what's the biggest hang up you've got right now, Mel, in life? Like what's the thing that you think that's holding you back the most?
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
All right. And so where is that living for you? Are you getting in your head?
Very much. Yep. And probably I feel like it's in my throat, like the ability to say what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Or say how I'm feeling maybe. Yeah.
And so when you're in self-doubt, what's happening? What's the result of that?
Nothing, as in I freeze, like I don't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel when you freeze?
Frustrated.
Yeah, which is you're not self-esteem as a generator. So that's a good sign, right? And so when you're frustrated, and like who it gets impacted by that?
Oh, my whole house.
Your whole house.
Yeah.
And so then what is the ramification of your whole house feeling what you're feeling?
Unsettled comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like everything's just off kilter, like there's no balance. And that's, now that I've learnt my chart, there's a lot of balance in my chart.
Yeah.
And when I'm not in alignment, it's very much everything's out of balance. Everything's out of whack. Yeah.
And so when you see your children out of alignment, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, frustrated.
Yeah.
And probably disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the open will, because it's like, I know better. I know better. I can do better. I can do better.
So you're beating, so then mum guilt comes into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we can see how we can actually, so you could actually just start talking about mum guilt.
Yeah.
See what we did there?
It's funny because that's actually come up
There
quite
you
a bit over the last few days.
But it's like, but do you see how we kind of reverse engineer? Like we got all the way down to like, this is actually how it shows up in life for everyone out there, as in mum guilt, but it's actually coming from an insecurity somewhere. But see, like you can do that with any center that's undefined for you. You can actually go, well, where is this showing up? You know, what are the results of that? What are the implications of that? Like, how is that affecting other people in your life? How do you feel when you see that happening in their life? Right. And then now you've got to, guys, can you shut the door, please, Bernard? Come on. Okay. Thank you. Rude. Right. Does that make sense to everyone? Like this is kind of the process that we go through to help you go, okay, this is my messaging and this is why I am an authority to talk on this. There's no more imposter syndrome. Like it literally is your life. But sometimes you don't realize that, oh, that's why that's happening. But when you can bring that thread through for your life, then you can teach on that. Okay. And you'll have content forever. You'll have content forever. All right. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. It's really handy for people to see someone who's super, super undefined.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to work out how to stop sharing.
That's okay.
Oh, how do I do that? Where's my stop share thing?
At the top, maybe.
Oh, stop share. There
we go. Okay. So, I mean, they were like kind of the three main sections that I wanted to talk about today. Was there anything else? I think the main thing I wanted to finish on was like, you don't need to be afraid of who you are on the inside. I think so many of us are actually scared to go there and to figure it out. But if we don't, like, we're just missing out on the opportunity of a lifetime. Because I know for a fact of thousands of people in my team, the hundreds of women I've supported through this doTERRA business, and thousands really online, is that doTERRA will reward you the more you are yourself. Like if anything comes down to anything, like the more you literally wave your freak flag, the better life will get. And sometimes it can be really scary to put ourselves out there like that. It can be really scary to set ourselves apart or to admit something that we're worried about or concerned about, or if we're anxious about something, right? Mel was very brave then to share with you her her fears around feeling insignificant or not enough. And I know, Mel, that you're more than capable of so many beautiful things. And you know that too. There's so much strength to you. Otherwise, reflectors, they would be freaking wilting everywhere because reflectors are all white, right? It's like, no, they're these beautiful mirrors for us, for the whole world, to guide us in what we're missing. That we need to look to reflectors to go show us what we're missing. We need you, right? And so there's strengths in everything. You can be defined in a center and be in its full shadow. You can be white in a center and in its full shadow. Okay. Neither is better than the other. It's what you do with it that counts. Okay. And so just remember that you are perfectly designed exactly as you are meant to. It doesn't matter if you were born premature or late or cesarean. I get those questions all the time, right? It just matters that you are here and you've been given these gifts, and you can utilize human design as a blueprint to explore that. And I did want to put up here because I created some courses, because I think that for me, I'm a teacher. I love to teach. So I find that it's just better for me to do that, and more cost effective for people to be able to do that in a group setting rather than do one-on-one training. I do offer one-on-one mentoring, but I do prefer people to learn in this way because it's empowering you, right? And so for sure, follow me on like the I Am Academy. You know, I'm always open to questions, and there's going to be content in there. You know, you can always continue to learn there. I want to do more little masterclasses through the doTERRA by Design group as well, which you're currently in. Please continue to bring people into this support community. I would love to interview people on who are actually in alignment at the moment, using their human design really, really effectively to succeed in their doTERRA business, so you can see how other people are doing it. It's really, really important. The I Am course that I do is the foundations of human design. So it's in life, health, parenting, and business does kind of get covered in there a little bit too, but it's more from a personal perspective than a practical perspective. I have 2 upcoming courses in those, August and December. Actually, let's get you here. I've got some wait lists, because if I was really organized, I could actually do better than that. But anyway, so there's some wait lists. I have I Am Woman. That's actually a course I'm currently in the process of completing at the moment. The next round won't be until September, but that is for people who already have an understanding of human design, and we're diving more into the nuances of our chart for own personal growth. We've got a few women who are doing I Am Woman at the moment, but we're really diving into like the polarity, masculine and feminine, because I know so many of us build in the masculine, but there's a lot of power in understanding where that is in our chart, where we need to honor it, and where we actually need to actually step into our feminine as well to enhance its efficacy and its power and its results. And you're going to really love tonight's call. Oh my God, we're going into all the astrology side. Oh, so good. You're going to like love it. Oh, so excited. So these are really short courses too, by the way. I'm an undefined root center. I can't do anything for too long. So the I Am course is 3 weeks. I Am Woman is 5 weeks. And the I Am Academy is about 6 to 8 weeks, start to finish. The Academy is a certification for those who want to bring human design. And you can start from zero with this. It is designed for that. If you've done the course before, it's a benefit. And what you pay to enter the course will actually deduct from the Academy if you choose to do so. So it's not going to cost you any more if you want to jump in that one. But yeah, the Academy is super powerful for those who want to integrate it into their business, not just as a human design reader, but actually bring it into other modalities that you are. Like, who are you as a brand? How do you actually want to bring that out into the world? And I don't know if anyone's on here right now. Mel's saying, what are you saying, darling? Highly recommend any and all of them. Total game changers. Inez did it as well. But at the end of the day, like this, Christine, as well, this has been such a big passion of mine. And I think in the human design world, it's expensive for people to go study it and to learn it, even just to have a reading. And so I wanted it to be more accessible for people, so more people could understand about themselves, their kids, their partners. And for those who actually want to bring it in as a modality, another source of income, like shit, we need that, right? doTERRA, the human design for the last 2 years has been such a beautiful complement to my business model, both financially and professionally. So I wanted to be able to pass it on to other people as well. Tammy said, I've done the I Am and would love to do the other 2 courses when I can. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. So I put some extra dates up there because but that's it. Like I'm literally full. I'm chockers. So that's it. That's it from me. I kind of felt like I was even overdoing it a bit this time, but 3 line, I'll figure it out and I'll work it out. And next year I'll probably only run it twice a year, not 3, but we will see. So just to finish up on the hour, I just would love to open up for some Q&A. For anyone that has joined live and for those who have watching the recording, I hope this has been interesting and eye-opening for you as to the possibilities that are here. Maybe you've got some ideas on like, oh, okay, I see what Hayley's doing there when she's looking at someone's chart, when she's doing like a wellness consult, or maybe if you're coaching someone, you can understand, particularly when you understand the connection to the physical body and the human design, which I don't see a lot of people teaching on, which is just insane. So I cover that in the I Am course. I do a whole module on the body and the human design for that exact reason. Jen saying everything Hayley teaches is magic and fire. Such an incredible teacher. Thank you, Jen. I just love it. I do love it. And I feel like I love teaching on oils too. And I feel like we all have these natural strengths that we can use, and you're all here for a reason. Like you're all interested in human design for a reason. So yeah, I'm just here to support that and to help you get the most out of it. Same as doTERRA. Like I'm here to support you, get the most out of the oils, and to, like, you're not in my team. I don't know if anyone's in my team here. Not one. Right? But I know that there's this quote that I've got here that says, give the world your best and the best will come back to you. You know, and I that's why I'm still here. It's why I created this free group for everyone to continue to learn and know that they have support no matter where they are in doTERRA, what country, what team, it doesn't matter, right? We're all in this together. Sarah's saying, could you remind me about the profile and how that determines? So yours are 5-1. So where it shows up is there are 2. So these top 2, right? There's a number, a gate, and then there's a dot and a number. And so the dot number is where the profile comes from. So we start with the black side. So the right-hand side is the first one. So that for you, Sarah, it would be a 5. Yes. And on the other side, it would be a 1. Yep. And so for me, I'm a 1 and then a 3. So that's where the profile comes from. They are a combination of our sun and our earth, both conscious and unconscious, which means it was the moment that we were born and about 88 days before we were born. And there's these elements of stars and planets and neutrinos and stardust, basically, that bring about 70% of the energy into our chart through this. So 70% of the energy not only comes through our sun, or suns, conscious and unconscious, earth, but also our profile, because that's the expression of that gate. Okay. And so there's 6 lines, and we teach, I mean, you can probably jump online and Google a little bit more about the 6 lines too, but I do teach them in all my courses as well. When I teach something, I don't just regurgitate a book. And the girls will know this, like I give you really random kind of life examples. Like I give you analogies or archetypes, right? Real life archetypes of how this actually shows up. Because for me, I'm more likely to remember a picture of a lady standing in a library as a 1 line than what it's called. Does that make sense? Because we're here, like, give me all the books. I want to learn. Okay. So with the 5 line, I picture a woman standing in front of a mirror. Okay. You're here to reflect back what other people, you naturally reflect back other people to themselves. And that's why people will love you or hate you. But they may also put you on a pedestal, right? Because they look to you for guidance, because what they see in you, they know is within themselves. But I'm more likely to remember that, and I know you'll be more likely to remember that than like, hang on, what was that thing called again? What's the weird word, right? So, you know, like I think that's just how I teach, because I know that's how people learn. And so does that help you? And so whenever you meet someone with a 5 in their profile, or a 1 or a 5-1, so we share a 1 line, so there'll be similarities there, and you probably resonate well with me because of that. And if you meet a 5-1 or a 5-2, right, you would just like get along like so well, because you're just the same. I never heard of a 5 line described like that. Thanks. 5-1 generator here too. So Tammy, does that make sense? I'm assuming it does. And this is why I guess I teach. I'm a good teacher, and I can teach essential oils. I can teach business. I can teach you human design. But I have an undefined will center. So it's really hard for me to like puff out my chest and like, I'm not here to prove myself, but I do love and appreciate, and I actually have to honor that more, of that I'm actually really, really good at this. And that's why I want to pass that wisdom on. Is there any other questions? Thank you for asking that, Sarah. Feel free to unmute if you like. No? All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just had a question about the courses,
Mhm.
and I was just wondering whether it's better to do the I Am first as an intro course, or whether I could jump straight into the academy.
You can absolutely jump straight into the academy. There's obviously a significant price difference between the two, but okay, let's put it out to the crew on here. Everyone did the academy, yes, before. Pretty much most of you did the academy. Sorry, the I Am course before the academy. Yeah. And so what do you think, that there's immense benefit in doing the course before the academy, or so you can integrate it? You've got longer to integrate it.
I think it helps to further solidify, because when, and I'm a 4/6, when you see something the first time, okay, it sort of starts to marinate, and then you sort of open yourself up to learn and understand more. So then you hear it again in the academy, and it's like, now it's really making sense. Now it's really landing for me. It's resonating more strongly because I've already had that element of familiarity in the past. So certainly for me, it was really beneficial to do the course first and then the academy.
Perfect, Inez. I mean, personally, I think that's why I designed it kind of like the course, woman, and then the academy, because if you can integrate it for yourself and your loved ones, it's much easier than to apply it to others. And because the academy is quite an intensive course, the training, we are go from day one. So yeah, I think, and like I said, if you do the course, what you pay for the course, I'll subsidize off the academy price anyway. So there's no additional cost there for you. So yeah, if you want to jump into the course, the next round starts, I think, maybe like the last day of July. I think like 31st of July or something. Yeah, that's when I will be. So jump on that, and I'll be launching that very shortly, for sure. Good question though. All right, ladies, thanks for your time. Happy Sunday. For those who are joining I Am Woman tonight, as I said, you're going to love, I'm so excited. So I'm actually bringing in an astrology expert, which is really good, my beautiful friend Emma. We're working on some really cool like cheat sheets too. So the idea is that you're going to have these, and you're going to be able to literally create a story around each of your gates, utilizing not only the human design, but also the, yay, look at you. You've been waiting for this. I know you have been. All right, everyone. So you ask, I respond. That's how it works, right? That's how it works. Thanks, Hayley. Wish I was on the call tonight. Love astrology too. Well, there's always next time, Tammy. Don't stress, darling. Okay, beautifuls. Big love to you. And thank you for those who stayed and watched the replay. Mwah! Have a great Sunday. Bye.